noticed it at a checkout. A basket that used to be one number is now a different number, and nothing in it changed. Same brand, same size, same Tuesday. You probably didn't say anything. You just did that small mental recalculation everyone does now, and moved on. Here's the strange part. Your money didn't shrink. The paper in your wallet is exactly the same paper. The number in your account didn't drop overnight. And yet something quietly took value out of it while you were asleep. For almost all of human history, that wasn't how money behaved. For thousands of years, a coin was a lump of silver, and a lump of silver in the year 1200 bought roughly what a lump of silver bought in the year 1600. Prices moved, but they moved both ways. Your great-great-grandparents lived in a world where a lifetime of savings under a mattress was a reasonable plan. That world ended, deliberately, within the last 100 years. And once you understand what replaced it, the checkout stops feeling like bad luck and starts looking like a design. Start with the thing nobody says out loud. We measure everything with money. Your salary, your rent, your savings, whether you're doing well. But money is a ruler that is designed to melt. Modern economies target inflation of about 2% a year. Not 0. 2. That's not an accident or a failure. It's the stated goal of nearly every central bank on Earth. They aim for your money to lose a little value, forever, on purpose. At 2%, prices double roughly every 35 years. That is one adult lifetime, cut in half. The cinema ticket your parents remember, the rent they paid in their 20s, the price of bread they still quote at you. None of those memories are wrong. The ruler moved. And when the ruler melts faster, 5, 7, 9%, doubling stops taking 35 years and starts taking 8. That's the decade you've just lived through. Nothing about your spending became irresponsible. The measuring stick simply melted faster than usual. The obvious question: if inflation hurts, why aim for it at all? Because the alternative frightens economists more. When prices fall, real deflation, something poisonous happens to behavior. If a fridge will be cheaper in 3 months, you wait. So does everyone. Spending stops, businesses shrink, wages get cut, and people spend even less because they're scared. Japan spent the better part of 30 years trying to climb out of exactly that hole. So a small, steady melt is treated as the lubricant that keeps everyone moving. It nudges you to buy now, to invest rather than hoard, to take the loan and build the thing. It also quietly shrinks every debt that already exists, which matters enormously, because the largest borrower in almost every country is the government itself. That's the trade. Mild, permanent erosion of your savings, in exchange for an economy that keeps moving, and debts that keep shrinking. Nobody put that on a ballot. It's simply the architecture you were born into. Here's the part that surprises people most, because it doesn't match the picture in your head. Most money is not printed. There is no vast machine stamping out the notes that cause inflation. Physical cash is a small fraction of the money that exists. The rest is created by commercial banks when they lend. When a bank approves a mortgage, it does not slide across a pile of someone else's savings. It types a number into an account. That number is new money. It did not exist a moment before. It comes into existence as debt, and it vanishes again as the loan is repaid. So the money supply breathes. It expands when people borrow, and contracts when they repay. Which means the amount of money chasing the things you want is set, in large part, by how much borrowing is happening, and how cheap borrowing is. That is why interest rates matter so violently. Cheap borrowing means more new money appearing, more money bidding for the same houses and goods, and prices rising. Expensive borrowing slows the creation of new money, and prices cool. When you hear that a central bank raised rates to fight inflation, this is the lever they are pulling, making new money harder to conjure. Now for the reason the official number never matches your life. Inflation is measured with a basket, a fixed list of things a typical household buys, priced repeatedly over time. When you hear, inflation is 3%, that is the basket, averaged. But you don't buy the basket. You buy your basket, and your basket is heavier in the things that rose fastest. Rent, education, insurance, healthcare, the essentials with no substitutes. The average is dragged down by things that got cheaper: televisions, electronics, clothing, air travel. So the honest summary is this: the things that make life feel stable, a roof, being cared for when sick, being taught, have risen far faster than the average. The things that make life feel fun have gotten cheaper, which produces the exact modern sensation of owning a very good phone in a flat you cannot afford to buy. You are not imagining the gap. You are simply carrying a different basket than the one being measured. None of this is fixable by you, but it is navigable, and the logic is simple once the mechanism is clear. Money held as money melts. That is its designed behavior. Cash sitting still is the one asset guaranteed to lose to inflation every single year, quietly. So the defense is to hold things that inflate with the world instead of against it. Assets whose prices rise as the ruler melts. Ownership of productive things. That is the entire unglamorous reason people say to invest rather than save. Not because investing is exciting, but because holding cash is a slow, certain, invisible loss. And the second defense is the one nobody markets to you: fixed-rate debt. Inflation erodes debt exactly as it erodes savings. A loan locked at a fixed rate gets easier to repay every year the ruler melts. That is why governments tolerate inflation so comfortably. It is quietly paying down their own borrowing while you sleep. So return to that checkout. The number didn't rise because someone got greedy that morning. It rose because you are living inside a system that is engineered to make money slowly worth less, to keep an economy moving, and to keep an enormous pile of debt shrinking. Your salary is measured with a melting ruler. Your savings are stored in the one substance guaranteed to erode. That's not a conspiracy. It was all published, debated, and decided in plain sight. It's just that nobody teaches it before they hand you your first paycheck. You'll flinch at the next price too. But now you'll know exactly what you're looking at. Not bad luck, not bad budgeting, just the ruler, melting, the way it was built.